Nick, we assume the Fed is watching the market's reaction to all of this. Is that a safe assumption?
Yeah, Becky, thanks for having me. It feels a little bit like Groundhog Day. You have a shotgun merger of a bank on the eve of an FOMC meeting, a big FOMC meeting. It feels like we were there 6 weeks ago because we were. And so, this does seem to clear the way for the Fed to raise rates by 25 basis points, which they had pretty strongly signaled they were going to do. And so the focus really now, I think, is going to be on what the Fed says in their policy statement on Wednesday afternoon.
So forget about it. There's no way they're looking at this and saying, there's too much stress in the banking system. They see this as kind of wrapping up one of the most stressed pieces that was still out there. So they are going to raise rates. How hawkish do you think they'll be? There was already a note out from Mike Wilson this morning saying if they're pretty hawkish, that could be potential downside for the equities market, that it could react badly.
Well, I think you're right. First Republic went from being a bank that was seen as in weak hands on Friday and stronger hands now because of what the government and J.P. Morgan did. When it comes to, how hawkish, I always ask people, well, compared to what? Because I don't really know what your priors are. I think the question here on the statement, and again, I think the focus is going to be on the statement at this meeting. There are no dots. There aren't interest rate projections at this meeting. So the question is, how much do they guide or not towards a June rate increase? They have those words in there that they anticipate some further policy firming may be appropriate. Do they keep that in there? Do they do what they did in 2006, their second to last move? They added the word yet. Some further policy firming may yet be appropriate. Those are sort of the code words or the buzzwords that I'm sure they've been playing around with to try to get it just right. They don't want to lock themselves into something if they're not sure they're going to move, but they don't want to signal a pause here either. I don't expect to see something like the Bank of Canada did in January, where they put a very clear pause into the statement. There will be a tightening bias, I would expect, coming out of this meeting. But the question is, how hawkish, to Mike Wilson's point, do they make that signaling?